Hello, and welcome to Two Props in a Pod. I'm Tenisha.
I'm Beth.
And we are faculty developers and faculty at Glendale Community College in Arizona. And we are so glad that you are here with us on today. We are really looking forward to having a conversation about something that we're definitely looking forward to talking about. So,
what are we talking about today, Tenisha?
well, it would be helpful to know what we're talking about. I'm so excited for it. Well, we are talking about inspiration, more specifically, what are the 5 things we can do to feel inspired? And I'll say that again. What are the 5 things we can do to feel inspired is what we are talking about today. So, Beth, my question to you, since you threw a question at me, is why are we talking about it?
We need to feel inspired.
Yeah. I love the way you say that.
we're recording this in the month of April. And so faculty know that this is the time of the semester. Well, maybe not all faculty know. I hope there's some faculty out there who are rolling right along.
Mm-hmm.
But, for some of us, it's the time of semester, just like for our students.
Right.
When, we can start to see the end.
Mm-hmm.
And that knowing that we're going to get a rest coming up and the temptation to maybe enjoy a spring day.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we should take that temptation every now and then. But this is a good time to do some things to get ourselves re-inspired.
Right.
To make it to the end of the year.
Right. So many of us see that finish line and we're just making our push and making our way to just making it to the end. And this is the time to make sure you get there. So, we might need a little bit of an extra push, which I'm really glad we're talking about this today because someone might need that's out there listening to this today. So, all right. So I say we jump into what we're talking about on today, which is what are 5 things we can do to feel inspired. I will jump things off with number 5. And number 5 is go back to your why. I think it's very important. And I'll say it again. I feel like repeating stuff today. The next, it is go back to your why. So like, for example, this would be a good opportunity to reevaluate and really reflect on why you do what you do, what pushes you to do what you do, what inspires you, and also trying to, if you don't know, maybe you forgot it, maybe you should try to reconnect with that, just in case you feel like you've lost it. So we have different reasons for why we do what we do. I'll share my why. My why is, I think I've mentioned before that I actually used to be a student here at Glendale Community College before becoming faculty.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the most influential people in my life were actually my professors. Teachers, professors, like from high school up until through college, have always been some of the most impactful people in my life. And when I was here at GCC, I had some of the best instruction I have ever had in college. And they really left an impact on me. And I just remember just that feeling as a student. And I want to do the same thing for my students. Like, I want to be that instructor for them, that professor for them, and be there for them, not only just to teach them, but also have some type of impact in their life and kind of give back in the same way that the professors gave to me. So that's really my why. My why is helping others, giving to others in the same way that the professors gave to me when I was a student here.
I'm glad we're doing this today because, well, for one, I like having a little list of things that we can do. And then even just talking about them is causing us both to reflect.
Yeah, absolutely. Which I believe is also part of the why, right? Reevaluating, also reflecting and maybe this is something that now that we're talking about it, people will kind of, what I like to say, marinate on that just a little bit and really get a sense of what their why is, because that really pushes you forward, especially when you're in the throes of work and life and there's just so much going on. It's nice having that go-to to kind of help you out along the way.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Tenisha. Number 4, this is something that Tenisha and I talked about last week, maybe to feel inspired, we have to inspire others, or maybe in inspiring others, we can get some inspiration ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah. So, for example, we had a great conversation about the opportunities that we get as instructors to sort of mirror something back to our students that maybe they don't really see in themselves. And Tenisha and I have both had the opportunity to recommend our honors program to students that we've had in our classes. These are maybe students who have come back to college after a while, so they're not fresh out of high school and maybe already in an honors program, but they're, 30, 40 years old and, working hard in their courses. And so to get to think of themselves as, that scholar.
Yeah.
Is maybe a way to think about themselves that they haven't before, and that can really kind of boost them. And I think in turn that sort of boosts us when we get to do that kind of work.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it really does go a long way. I think sometimes we don't necessarily think about how like a small comment here and there or giving a student positive reinforcement can really go a long way. Like, for example, some of my students are into art and they show me their art and I just say, oh, that's really cool. That's really neat. And sometimes they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah. It's like, I can't do that. You can do that. It's like, oh, well, that's really cool. Sometimes I'm just, just drawing in my own little world and doing my own little thing. And I'm like, well, that's really, you're really talented, and sometimes even just saying that small thing and that positive reinforcement could go a long way, because maybe that student hasn't heard that said to them before. Like maybe no one has said that to them before, and they don't think anything of what they do, but then someone comes along and says, hey, that's really good stuff. So that inspiration really does go a long way for students.
I think so too. All right, what's number 3?
Number 3 is create a top 10 list of your accomplishments. Create a highlight reel or make a list of positive feedback students have told you, and then review the list as a boost. I know that's a long one, but at the end of the day, it's really encouraging you to kind of create like a top 10 list. And this idea actually comes from a book that I'm currently reading called The Confident Mind by Dr. Nate Zinsser. And it's a book that's just all about building confidence, and it talks about confidence. It talks about evidence that supports some of the strategies that they mention in the book about how to become a more confident person. And the book actually recommended creating a top 10 list that you can actually go back and reference anytime you need a little bit of boost for your confidence. So I thought, oh, well, the same thing maybe could be applied in this situation, where if you kind of just need a little bit of a reminder of your highlight reel, your accomplishments. I think sometimes we get so busy that kind of like gets left in the back of our mind somewhere. But I think looking at this list, you look at it and you're like, oh yeah, I did do that. Oh, I did accomplish that. That's a little bit of a boost there.
And we did assign this to ourselves as homework. So Tenisha and I were both supposed to do this before today's episode, and I found it harder than I thought it would be. I mean, I had to sit and think. Well, I was also trying to do like 10 accomplishments in the past, like 5 or 6 years. So finally I made that time frame a little bit bigger, and it got a little bit easier. But and then I think it did help too, because then I looked at the list and I was like, yeah, those are not things that everybody does.
Right. And it is nice.
Yeah.
To really reflect and think about them.
And then I noticed a similarity. 2 of my items were just about traveling to an event by myself, which isn't to say that I only travel in groups, but part of why it's on a list of accomplishments for me is because it was just me doing that. So that gave me a lot to think about. What was it about those 2 experiences that sort of stood out?
And it's a great thing to go back to, because sometimes I think just those reminders are very helpful. And once again, there's that reflection piece, right? The ability to kind of really reflect and kind of see your your highlight reel.
Well, and we did an episode once even on imposter syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So there's a possibility that some people don't even see their achievements as really an achievement, right? Like,
right.
well, that's just what I do, or it's just something I did, and
right.
not really think it's that big of a deal.
Right. But no, write this list down, because when you have those moments where you're like, I'm not supposed to be here, you can look at that list and be like, oh yeah, I am supposed to be here.
Yeah.
I am where I am supposed to be. So if you need that little boost, then I highly recommend doing something like that for yourself.
Okay, that takes us to number 2. And number 2 is just, change things up.
Mm-hmm.
This is sort of breaking out of whatever routine. So, for example, if I have a routine where I go home and maybe I say hi to my animals and pets, and then maybe I sit down for a little while and start scrolling on social media, and then, an hour has gone by, and, so I have my regular routine that I do. Mix up that routine, do something different, read a book. Reading is always more inspirational to me than anything I could watch on TV or, any kind of movie or anything like that. There's something about reading the written word that gets me thinking in a different way. There's probably some science about that too. Learn something new, develop a new hobby, make a date with friends. So just trying to engage in out-of-the-box thinking and just mixing up that routine can really kind of create some inspiration.
Yeah. It's a great one. Because you never know where some of those things that you learn from those different experiences and those different things that you try may show up. And sometimes even in your professional life, like you may learn something from reading, right? Reading your book, and you find something that you could use maybe in the classroom or your everyday life, just from, changing things up slightly for yourself. You might be able to find that it can be applied in other areas. So that's a good one.
Okay, how about number 1?
Number 1 is build an inspiration bank of quotes, songs, pictures, people that you find inspiring that you can tap into. You can even create an inspiration mixtape. So, which is, I think, or for example, a Get Hype mix. If you're familiar with the show, How I Met Your Mother, there's a character by the name of Barney Stinson, and he creates what's called like a Get Hype mix. And it's just these songs that he put on a CD. It has like Bon Jovi on it. And he uses it to kind of get himself hyped. That's why it's called a Get Hype mix. So it's kind of the same idea here, is that can you find something that can really get you hyped or kind of boost you up when you kind of feel like you need it, whether that's a quote or people. Like, for example, we talked about mentors last episode. I find my mentors to be inspiring, just some of the things that they've done. I'm like, wow, that's so cool. They're people that I look up to, or even have my own kind of like Get Hype playlist myself. I have like 4 of them and I just pick whichever one I want to play when coming into work. So it's a mix of different people. Like I have Lizzo on there, I have Kelly Clarkson, I have Ariana Grande, I have a little bit of Lady Gaga. So it's just definitely a mix of different things and different people. So that's kind of what I like to do. You could also create a vision board, but maybe call it an inspiration board, like maybe something that you can kind of look at maybe before you leave your house to go about your day, or something that you can look at before you go to sleep. And then before you go to bed, you can dream about your inspiration board before you wake up for the next day. So there's lots of different things that you can do, but it's nice kind of going to that source and pulling from that pool of inspiration to kind of help to keep things going.
I like that one too, because it can be really visual and you can put it in your eyesight so that you can look up and see it.
Yeah.
It's like that reminder.
Yeah, that you can see. So especially if you're a visual person and you feel like that'll help you. And then also if you need to, you can just kind of go back to that visual or that mental picture whenever you need it. You can just pull from there.
I have Beyonce, Cardi B.
Ooh.
A little bit of dubstep.
Okay.
On my hype up mix to go to work.
Oh. Dubstep,
Sorry,
Cardi
I went
B,
back to number
and
2.
Beyonce.
Oh, no, that's still number 1. Okay, see, I'm on track.
It's still number 1. Yeah, you're good. I like your Get Hype mix.
We're going to play it as soon as we're done with this.
Oh, Beth, you make me laugh. Oh my goodness. So for our listeners out there, just think about what your bank could be and how you can use it to find your inspiration when you feel like you need to pull from it. So, because there are some days where just some lyrics will just hit, a little bit differently on different days, depending on what I feel like I need that day.
Hey, I want to know what our listeners do for inspiration.
Oh.
So please put it in the comments.
Yes.
Or send us an email or send us a tweet because I want to add to this list.
Yeah, that would be really neat.
We need some inspiration.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe you feel inspired when you go on a hike or you go on a walk or maybe when you're cooking or baking or I don't know. I'm really curious to know, what you do to help you to feel inspired. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, so that's our top 5. So thank you so much for listening. Do you have anything else you'd like to add, Beth?
I do not.
Okay. All righty. So we hope you enjoyed listening to this conversation. If you enjoyed listening to this conversation and want to join in, connect with us on Twitter. Follow at 2profsinapod or leave a comment on our blog at 2profsinapod.blogspot.com. Remember, spell out the number 2. Other ways to show your support: subscribe in your favorite podcast app, write a review on Apple Podcasts, or tell your colleagues about the show. 2 Profs in a Pod is hosted by Beth Ayers, English faculty, and Tenisha Baca, communication faculty. The show is brought to you by the Center for Teaching, Learning, and Engagement at Glendale Community College in Arizona.